On the BMX side of things, one of 3 BMX riders we got featured for you out here this weekend at Kings Island for the Grab Some Air ramp event. This gentleman right here, though, he's more known as a vert rider. If you don't know too much about action sports, that's this style of riding. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But he's also quite an accomplished park and street rider, and every now and then he's been known to enter a dirt jumping competition or 2 as well. Known for his insane combination moves and also for being one of the very first riders to ever successfully land the double backflip. He's out of Chicago, Illinois. Make some noise for Koji. Starting for us out here. Dropping it right now and sending you over to the world of skateboarding. This gentleman on the ramp right here, one of the rookies, one of the young guns, one of the rising young stars in the sport of competitive skateboarding. Now, he is strictly a vertical competitor, and only in his 3rd season as a pro, he's working hard trying to rise through the ranks and make a name for himself. He's out of San Diego, California. What do you say, everybody? Let's hear it for Josh Back to the BMX side of things, we have one of the veterans in the sport, and he's strictly a vertical rider. The half-pipe stuff, that's what this guy is all about when it comes to his career. Now, when it comes to major competitions, he's known for his consistency at major events, but he's also known for the impressive height at which he will do his tricks. That being said, you're going to see him launching himself a good 7, 8, maybe even 9 feet or more out of this ramp of ours throughout the course of the show. Residing in the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. What do you say, everybody? Get loud for Jay Eggleston.
He went live.
Right now and rounding out the skateboard side of things, you met one of the rookies in that sport just a little while ago. Well, this gentleman on the ramp right now, one of the veterans, and he too, strictly a vertical competitor. Now, he competes on the major events like the X Games as well as the New Tour. He too, known for his consistency at major competitions. There's a lot of prize money on the line at those major events, a lot of pressure. This gentleman's known for having nerves of steel and getting the job done time and time again when it counts, and it regularly puts him on the top 10 tour standings. He's from down south out of Tampa, Florida. What do you say, everybody? Let's hear it for Anthony Furlong. And last but definitely not least, rounding out the roster here this afternoon, another one of the high-flying veterans in the world of competitive freestyle BMX. He's too known for his style, and he's known for those. Those right there, they're called flares. It's a backflip with a 180-degree corkscrew twist. You've seen him at the X Games. You've seen him at the New Tour. He's from Ocala, Florida. Kings Island. Get loud for Jimmy Walker. It's going to be one of those kinds of shows if they're doing backflips in the intro runs there. Well, there you go. You got a chance to meet the fellas. You know just a little bit about them. So right now, going to cut the boys loose and let them do their thing. And the way we run our show, it's what we call a jam session. What does that mean? It means the guys can just get out of here and throw down, take as few or as many runs as they want. And like I told you at the top of the show, they like to hear you making some noise out there. So come on, let's pour it on. Get loud. Let them know you appreciate their talents, because that's how it works. They hear you guys screaming and yelling and carrying on out there. Lets them know y'all are having a good time, and well, they're already having fun, I can tell, because they're doing crazy stuff in the intro runs. We haven't even gotten a quarter of the way into this, and these guys are already throwing down some pretty insane moves for you here. Now, part of my job, I get to introduce you to riders, give you little stats on the athletes, and tell you about them, what their careers are all about. But the other part of my job, I get to kind of guide you through your whole experience out there on the ramp and kind of point out some things to watch for. Now, some of you may be well-versed in the world of action sports. You may watch this stuff fairly regularly on television and whatnot. But then again, for some of you, this may be your first ever action sports experience. This is your first time checking it out up close and in person. Now, well, when you watch it on television, TV doesn't really do it justice. You don't get a feel for how tall these ramps are or for how high these guys are actually going. There's also a lot of things happening really, really quickly when they're up in the air. So to the untrained eye, if you're not paying close attention, you might miss something really cool. So that's part of my job out here. I try to point out some of those things and let you know what to watch for. Now, let's talk about the ramp here first and foremost. Like I said in the intros, we call this thing a half-pipe. It's also known as a vertical ramp, so that term vert. Whenever I say that, I'm talking about the style of ramp and the type of riding that's taking place in it. We call it vert ramp for short. Now, when you see these things on TV, things like the X Games and the Deer Tour, those things are anywhere in the neighborhood of 13 to 14 feet tall and about 60 to 120 feet in width. This one that you see here, a little bit smaller than what these guys are used to competing on or what they'd be practicing on in their backyard ramps or local skate parks. This thing stands at about 11 feet tall and it's only 20 feet in width. It's pretty narrow, however, it's pretty cool. This is like our tour transformer. This thing folds up into a truck and we drive it down the road going from place to place here on the Air Force Reserve. Grab some air tour. However, it may be a little bit smaller, but that doesn't hold these guys back, as you can see by some of the things Jimmy Walker and the rest of the boys are throwing down out here this afternoon. Now, if you haven't figured it out yet with the BMX boys, it's all about big air. They like to push themselves as high as they possibly can out of this ramp. And there you go again, the flare. It's a backflip 180. That trick's evolved over the last 10 years in their sport. Many years ago, guys used to do what we call backflip fakies. Fakie is a universal term in all three of these sports. It's whenever you go into a trick or land it backwards or land it backwards. So with the backflip fakie, you go straight up, straight down, you flip, you come in backwards. You can do it, but it was really hard to spot your landing and backpedal, and it was really easy to dump the bike over and hit your head. So back around 1991, 1992 or so, a fellow by the name of Matt Hoffman, legendary vert BMX pioneer, he took it a step further. He's the one that developed what we now know as the flare in their sport. He threw a 180-degree twist in the mix, so what happens there, you can take off forwards and you can land forwards on the vert ramp. The guys like Jimmy Walker have helped that trick evolve over the years with kind of a barrel roll, kind of a corkscrew style. Back when that trick first came on the scene, it was really rough, it was really hard and jerky to get that thing to do the 180-degree rotation in the middle of the backflip. Guys like Jimmy have perfected this barrel roll. I call it kind of a lazy roll style. I know that sounds like I'm downplaying a little bit, but it's really cool because it takes off they take off the rotation, they slow it down and just really stretch that out, and it makes that trick look a lot cooler. And now you see it a lot more regularly in competitions than you used to back in the early 90s. Jay Eggleston here, if you haven't figured it out yet, this guy makes his living up in the air, blasting a good 8-9 feet. The railings up on top of the ramp where you see that Air Force Reserve signage, those things are standing at 8 feet tall, and Jay is easily up and over those things after just one setup air getting into the ramp there. And one thing to note about Jay, you'll see a trick on every single wall of the ramp. You might get one setup air out of that guy. He'll roll and do one setup air just to get speed, build the momentum, but then after that, it's just back-to-back-to-back tricks. That guy will never do a blank wall or double anything up. He tries to do something different on each wall in every single run, whether it's a show or a competition. And again, another one of the things that guy's known for. Now with Anthony and Josh on the skateboards, it's a mix of the air tricks as well as the technical variety. You'll see these guys up in the air, but they'll be doing lots of those. Those are called kickflips. Come on, that's worthy of a scream or two. That's pretty impressive right there. You're up in the air, you kind of apply pressure with your lead foot on what we call the nose of the board. You're pushing down with your toe, and you make the board spin towards you. Rolls over from side to side, spins pretty quickly. Catch that thing, throw it back underneath your feet. See what I'm talking about? Going for the old sideways rotation there and trying to test out the safety net right there. Come on, somebody scream out there for Jimmy Walker. Somebody needs to tell him this ramp's only 20 feet wide. Jimmy's got his own 60-foot wide vert ramp on a horse farm down in Ocala, Florida. So he's used to taking off and giving it that old lazy spin. He likes to take off at point A and land all the way over at point G. And in this case, it was point G. I almost went off the side of the ramp and into the barricades. But that's what's going on with that guy. Someone's got to tell him to simmer it down a little bit. Hey, Kings Island, are we having some fun out here or what? Coachy Kraft firing off a big trick you've seen a couple of times here, the tail whip, and then he follows it up with a little thing called the Superman seat grab. The Superman part of that, you're up in the air, you take the feet off the pedals, you stretch those legs back behind the bike, and the idea is, well, you kind of want to look like you're flying through the air like Superman. There you go, Jimmy landed on those perfect flares. That's how you take off in one spot and try to land and keep it within a 10-foot marker right there. That's sort of the beauty of that trick. Guys these days are carving that thing up. They'll take off in one spot and they'll traverse like 15, 20 feet across the ramp, and Jimmy's got to learn how to slow it down on this ramp right here and try to keep it within the 4 to 5 foot.